All right, I think we are actually live now. So today we're going to be talking about why your shoulder mobility sucks, and we're going to talk about the hidden reason behind it. First, I want to cover a note that I got from David F9630 on a previous video that I did, and it's pretty great. It's pretty great. So he says, "Good morning, Matt. Happy Monday. I'm just going to say it. I'm a cancer patient with metastasis up and down my spine, on my clavicles and hips. I do as much stretching as possible, and your exercises really help. On my scans in June, the CT scan technician said that I move very well considering all the metastasis on my bones. It's never too late. Thank you so much. ATM, always think muscles." So, David, thanks for sharing that note, and thanks for sharing that message to help inspire other people to keep moving and keep thinking about how they're going to get their bodies to feel better. You know, you're facing an obviously difficult situation, and it's still making your life better to keep on moving. So, congrats to you, kudos to you, and thanks for letting me know that this is helping you. And if you're out there and you're not David and you don't have metastasis in your bones, why are you not ATMing? Okay? Always think muscles. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about shoulder mobility stuff. So we're going to talk about muscles the way David encourages us to. And we're going to talk about the hidden feeling, the hidden emotion that's making your shoulder mobility worse every single day. Because we all know that motion is lotion. We all know that there are things that we can do to maintain or improve our shoulder mobility. But there's something you really commonly don't acknowledge that actually stops you from doing the things that you want to do. And I touched on this in one of my recent private podcasts that you can find on my Patreon page, where I talked about pain and progress. I talked about what we're going to talk about today, and I'm wearing a tank top for this specific reason, because I want to make this really clear so you can see my shoulder muscles, and I want to make you and me very uncomfortable as I show you how to improve your shoulder mobility, because you're going to have to see my armpits, and I'm going to have to show them to you. Those guys right there. All right, so also want to mention, as we go through this, if you have shoulder issues, you're trying to improve your shoulder mobility, you have shoulder pain, make sure you check out the Shoulder Fix program. There's going to be a link, I believe, on screen, uprighthealth.com/shoulders. If everything is working, you should see that link. It'll also be in the description box when we're done with all of this. So now let's talk about the hidden feeling, the one that you don't talk about, the one that stops you from doing the stuff that makes you feel good. So number one, we need to understand that to have good shoulder mobility, you actually have to make your shoulder go through a wide range of motion. So if you want to be able to reach overhead, you got to reach overhead. If you want to be able to reach out to the side, you have to reach out to the side. You got to lift that arm out, right? If you want to be able to go behind you, you actually have to practice doing that. But you probably maybe do half or less of what I just showed you. What's the reason? Okay. I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you were in public, maybe standing around outside somewhere, and you did something like this? When's the last time you did that? If you're not a dancer, you're not a gymnast, you're not somebody who's used to performing in some way, it's probably been at least a few years, if not a few decades, since you actually had your hand and arm up overhead in public. And the reason I know this is because I watch you. I watch a lot of people out in public and see how they move. And I also remember that when I was in my 20s-ish, I remember experimenting with, number one, new posture, like actually being able to stand straight with my chest a little more open rather than this all the time. I remember how weird that felt. And I also remember trying to do this in public, just raising my arms up overhead. And it felt horribly scary. And it felt like not something I could possibly do because what am I trying to do? Like, I'm afraid of people's judgment when my hands are up overhead. That was what I realized many years ago. So, a challenge for you today is to determine whether or not you have this same feeling, this fear of judgment, of doing something abnormal in public that stops you from doing something that might actually make you feel better, that might make your body feel good. And I don't mean that in just like a abstract, over time it's going to make you feel good. Like, when you do this, what is this? When you, oh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Whew. What's going on in here? Ooh. Oh man. When you are pumping your arms like this, why are you normally doing that? When do you normally see that in public? You see that with athletes. Somebody scores a goal, arms go up, the celly pumping their arms, right? Touchdown, whatever, all these things. This is a celebratory position for your shoulders, for your arm, right? How often are you celebrating anything? Or how often are you excited? I'm like, yeah. It's probably not that much when you're a grown-up, but maybe that tells you something about how you're structuring your life. So the challenge here is to say, hey, can I do this? Is it possible for me to do this in a way that feels good and that gives me some of the benefits, the endorphin rush of having my arms up without also having the negative of like, oh man, I feel so weird. People think I'm stupid because my arms are up overhead. I can't handle the judgment. I want you to start getting used to getting your arms up overhead, even in public. And if you see me out in public, because some of you randomly find me, I hope you're not like deliberately doing that, but some of you randomly find me. If you see me and you raise your arms up like this, I'm gonna know. And I guess I'll take a selfie with you because that'll be awesome, right? We'll just do this together. But this can be our new secret handshake, okay? So I know it's not gonna be easy just going into doing this in public, so let's talk about some socially acceptable excuses for getting your arms up overhead. Number one, I just mentioned, it's the victory pose. It's like, yeah, I'm celebrating, I'm super happy. So maybe you're out and about with a friend and you're just like, I'm happy to see you. Maybe don't wear a tank top. And they'll be like, I'm happy to see you too. Boom. That's an extra rep, okay? Two is you can do the old sports fan trick. This is kind of a modification. Let's say you're holding your phone or something. You could be looking at your phone. So this is like super stealthy, okay? Looking at your phone, right? As if you are celebrating something that just happened. Maybe you're pretending to watch a sporting event on your phone, and then you're just like, bam, okay? Another option. Another is to, I mean, this is a little bit cringy, but you could pretend using your phone that you're going to take a selfie and you're checking the height. Like you could pretend you are some sort of influencer or some sort of whatever, or you're just going to send a picture to a loved one, right? Pretend you're on vacation or something. Hold the phone, selfie, do this, get your arm up, get that little stretch. Okay, all of these are ways to kind of trick the people around you into thinking you're raising your arm up for a socially acceptable reason. And a selfie, gosh, well, those are socially acceptable. So, but I think you will have really progressed when you've gotten into doing it often enough that you legitimately feel like just doing a little stretch break feels good and I'm okay with that. So, simple way is to just like raise an arm up overhead, grab the other arm. This immediately signals to people that you're stretching, right? You've got a purpose, right? When people see your arms go up and there's like no clear, obvious purpose, it starts looking weird. But if you can make it clear, like, oh yeah, I'm just standing here, I'm just getting a little stretch, it immediately takes away a lot of the tension and the embarrassment. How do I know? Because I do this all the time. These days, if I'm standing around, you will usually find me doing something. All my son's parents, all my son's parents. Now, all my son's friends' parents all know that I move and fidget a lot. Like I'm usually not just standing still, like doing this. Like, so boring. Like if you do that all the time, your body is going to lose its mobility. So make it a habit to move. Shout out to Mr. Salmon on the East Coast, by the way. You know who you are. Watching him stretch in an airport, whew, he was awesome. He was down on the carpet. This happened last year. He was down on the carpet doing hip stretches. Amazing job in the airport stretching and not caring at all what people would think of him. He was awesome. Another good way to get in a stretch is to just yawn, right? Just be like, oh, nice huge yawn. Make it dramatic. No one's going to judge you for that. Some people will probably applaud you. I know I would. If you did a yawn that big in public, I'd be like, dude, let's party. Okay? So, and finally, for those who are already fitness oriented, if you're an athlete, or whatever, maybe you're not, if you want an excuse for raising your arms up, you can just go up overhead and then like kind of do like this slow motion kind of movement with tension, like, oh yeah, I'm pulling myself up, or oh yeah, I'm pushing up, right? You can just let people know, like, hey, yeah, I'm just practicing a thing. I'm trying to get better at pull-ups. I'm trying to get good at presses. As long as you've got that reason in your head and you can legitimately say it to yourself, like, yeah, I'm working my shoulder mobility, so I'm getting stronger for this, it's going to help. And it's going to help the emotion, right? And it's going to help the actual range of motion of your shoulders. Okay? Now, hopefully that takes care of all the embarrassment, all the social embarrassment, all of that, like, oh God. And we need to also work on some other stretches and exercises to help you actually improve that range of motion, because a lot of us, because we don't go here, we can't get there. So you go like, it starts hurting, or maybe you get a little bit higher, but there's just no way you can get your arm next to your head without a whole bunch of cheating like this, right? Your low back does all the motion rather than the shoulder flexion. Well, let's address that with some simple things you could do at home or at the office, wherever you work. Maybe you've got a lot of downtime. I know you have a lot of downtime. I used to work a regular job too. So you're going to stand next to a wall. You could also do this on a table if you're at a counter or something, but next to a wall works. So you're just going to put your hand up on the wall and you're going to bring your chest lower to the floor. You'll notice when I'm doing this, I'm not just rounding into it. I'm trying to keep the spine pretty much the same the whole time. I'm hinging at the hips, bringing the chest down, getting a stretch through this whole area. You might even feel some stretch on the top of the front of the shoulder. So your latissimus dorsus can go from here and then goes under your armpit, down into your lower back. So coming down like this, your triceps also will get a pretty good stretch while doing this. And you're just going to a place where you can still breathe. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you should not feel like it's so intense that you cannot breathe. If you're going into it and it feels like, then for right now it's too much. Back out of it, stay there, breathe calmly, pay attention to the stretch sensation. Don't go so far that you feel any jamming of bones or muscles or anything here. It shouldn't feel like it's pinching on top. You're just going to where you begin to feel stretch sensation somewhere down on the opening angle. And then over time, hold it here for like 30 seconds to a minute, even longer if you have the patience. And as you hang out here, you're going to notice like, oh, okay, those muscles, all those stretch areas are starting to lengthen. Again, don't push hard, because some of the compensation, another compensation is you might like shrug your shoulder up here and get it right next to your ear. It's not what we're looking for. You might do this stuff. Just try to be very mindful and intentional about everything that you're doing. Okay, so we're going lower, 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 wherever you get. Hopefully one day you're doing this so much you're getting your head right next to your biceps, right next to your humerus, the arm bone, the funniest bone in the human body. Get it? The humerus? Okay. Anyway, so you're stretching that. You do that for a minute. do it on both sides. Then you can do a little bit of a strength exercise, just a reactivation exercise. This is not going to give you shoulders like boulders, but you use one hand to just stabilize you. The other hand, you're just going to lift away from the wall. Okay, so you're actively now using the muscles on the top of the shoulder to draw the arm away from the wall and into that vertical position, right? So we're here. You just play around with where your hands are and the angle of your body. The lower you get, the harder it's going to be, the more gravity's pulling this arm down. So you probably want to start off higher first. That's going to make the top position relatively easy, assuming you have the range of motion. And then as you go lower, it's going to make that end position feel a little bit, well, a lot bit harder to stabilize. For extra challenge, you can hold that end position for 5-10 seconds. You could also use a little bit of weight. If you have a really heavy watch, really heavy any object, a water bottle, you could hold on to it and work on it like this. Okay, so those are all simple options, and you want to do that on both sides. I would suggest doing like 2 rounds on each side. And if one side is obviously stiffer or weaker than the other side, give it some extra attention. So I know my left side currently is much stiffer than my right side. So as I work on this, I might do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do a whole extra set, number 5, on this side for the stretch, right? Just hang out there, and then I'd give it a little extra time doing the lifts, okay? So you could do this however you want. You could do stretch, 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 and then lift, 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 and then one more for the weaker side, stiffer side. Or you could do stretch, lift, and then stretch, lift for the stiffer, weaker side. There's not like a wrong answer to this. Some people find that doing it with the staggering feels better. Some people find that doing the stretching longer feels better. Just figure out what works for you. Neither one is going to cause any major issue for you. Okay, so simple ways that require no equipment. And then finally, one other thing you can do, which we talked about when we were going through all the socially acceptable ways of training your overhead position, is just working on the actual overhead press. So you can just be standing here and think about, can I get this arm up overhead? Can I get it to a vertical position next to my head? Like that. How far back can I get it? And then if you have a water bottle, you just hold that water bottle. Or if you got weight, you can do it too. But this is all stuff you can do just at work, at home. Just, whew. And another little trick here is like, if you just put a hand near the working side, it already starts looking like you're doing an exercise. And then people will be like, hey, what are you doing? And then you can say, I'm working on my shoulder mobility. You want to do it with me? And then there will be 2 of you doing this. And then if each of you finds 2 other people, you'll soon have a group of, the math just got real complicated. But the more you do this, the more it encourages the people around you to do the same thing, and everybody's shoulder mobility magically gets better. Okay, so that's that. If you have issues though with the position, make sure you are doing the stretches, make sure you're doing those little lifts to start recalibrating, retraining, rebuilding your shoulders. If you don't find that that's enough, make sure you're checking out some of my other shoulder videos. I just released one a couple weeks ago about getting rid of shoulder pain just using a water bottle. There's a bunch of very helpful exercises in there. Check out the program at uprighthealth.com/shoulders. And let's also just check in really quick to see if there were any questions in here. And let's see, Jimmy, hey sir, show to sway shoulder. I'm not sure what that means. Head position. We'll walk. Somebody from Tennessee, hey Joy. And somebody got a bent rib. It's 5 days working to my doctor to relax, but now I can't stay, I can't lay, only flat. Oh, so Mikkel. Sounds like Mikkel got the dreaded rib injury. Yeah, well, all right, so super quick question, super easy answer. You got a bent rib. It's been 5 days, and you're working 2 days until my doctor says I have to take a break and relax, but right now so I'm not sure. I think probably your biggest question here is how do I make this better? And the answer is time. I'm sorry. There is no there is no way around that. I have cracked a rib, bruised a rib, done the things with the ribs, and it's just terrible for 3 to 4 weeks, maybe longer, depending on how bad you did it. Just try not to laugh, try not to sneeze, try not to cough, don't talk to anybody. I mean, that's a joke. Talk to people and just know that it's gonna hurt. And eventually it will stop hurting. There's no shortcut on it that I'm aware of. I'm really, really sorry. And I think I'm starting to understand Jimmy Lame's question about how to sway the shoulder while walking. Actually, I'm not 100% sure I understand that. I do have a video about how to walk correctly that I will link in the description box once we're done with this live stream. But if you just search on YouTube, you can find it, how to walk correctly, upright health. In terms of shoulder sway, I'll just do a quick little sidebar here, and then we'll call it a day because it's Labor Day weekend and you should all get out and go have some fun. So shoulder sway while walking, I think there are some interesting schools of thought on this. There's people who are like, oh yeah, you should do like a lot of shoulder sway, meaning like your shoulders coming forward as you walk, right? So you're getting contralateral motion. So if my right foot is stepping forward, right leg is moving forward, my left shoulder is coming forward, so my rib cage, my spine, and everything, those are all moving. So I once was exposed to this idea that like, oh, contralateral motion is like the key for walking efficiently, but I think that there's a place for it, we'll put it that way. And I would caution you against thinking that there is this like exact correct form of walking that you're trying to hit all the time. Ideally, you want to be able to move without having to overthink it, and you want things to be relatively balanced. They're never going to be absolutely 100% perfect, so don't shoot for that, okay? So one shoulder might be a little bit lower, it might be like a little bit higher. As long as they're pretty close and it's not causing you obvious issues, it's probably fine. But if you're like doing stuff like this is not okay, right? Like this is not efficient. That is telling you that's telling you a very clear story about your body. And your job then is to understand the story, right? Like what muscles are working or not working when you're walking, right? So if I were doing something like this, right, then you know, well, you know to look, hopefully, that maybe some muscles here are not stabilizing me well. Maybe some muscles here are not stabilizing me well. You'd want to search to figure out like, okay, what does this mean? Like if you see this happening, you know muscles here are lengthening. That means those muscles are not doing their jobs, right, to keep you lined up, right? So if I'm just walking normally, I don't have to move that much with the shoulders, which is why I no longer, like, there was a very brief period where it was like, yeah, contralateral motion, but now I'm like, yeah, a little bit's fine, but let's not overdo it. Because if you're just walking slowly, you really don't need that much upper body motion. When you watch, I'm just thinking of like Japanese movements, right? Like you see, or martial artists from any country, right? Like you can move your lower body very well, very powerfully, very efficiently without the upper body having to move as well, right? You can do all kinds of things and the upper body doesn't have to compensate for it or participate. And ideally, you want to be able to use it when you need it and leave it still when you don't need it. So when you're walking, just pay attention. Are you like throwing your shoulder into it because you can't get something from lower? That's very common, right? So if I can't move my left hip very well, my left leg, or my left ankle, right? people will often use the upper body to get a little momentum to swing through because they're not able to use something down here, right? And maybe this side is fine, but then, oop, I gotta swing through with or swing the leg through by giving a little bit of extra body English with the shoulder or with the rib cage or whatever. So ideally you wanna say, okay, if I'm walking forward, am I pretty symmetrical? Do I have extraneous inefficient motion? And if I do, can I break that down a little bit? What muscles might be involved and how can I retrain that? Okay, so I hope that gives you at least a general idea of what I would normally be thinking about. So I hope that helps you guys. I gotta run because it's Labor Day weekend and I gotta go run around and like lift my arms up in public because I'm probably gonna go film another video about this. If you have other questions that weren't answered here, please drop them in the comments section, in the chat, whatever. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. Find my private podcast on Patreon if you want to hear what kind of crazy things go on in my head in private. And check out the Shoulder Fix at uprighthealth.com/shoulders. As always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.